I know Tom was down there covering the game. We'll talk more about it with him coming up. But Tom, I do want to discuss Arkansas basketball first. I know again Bob votes for the AP poll, but you do for football. 10 ranked teams lost over this past week, and Arkansas won both of their games. They were at 23 last week. I think they'll be well within the top 20. Curious if they be top 15. Where do you think Arkansas is ranked today, and more importantly, what could their net ranking be by the end of this week going up against top-tier opponents in Florida and Kentucky, man?
Well, good morning, everybody. I don't know, just generally speaking, they probably should slide into the high teens. I know that some of those other teams lost, so just, taking it from the 10,000-foot view, I'd say they'd move into the teens. And I looked at their net ranking right before I came on, and now I've forgotten it, but it's right behind
23.
Tennessee.
23, yeah.
Yeah, so, Tennessee 22, Arkansas 23, and Alabama and LSU are still Alabama's right above Arkansas.
Yeah,
just a lot of and it's like Eric Musselman said heading into this stretch, they're playing teams that are all up there other than the Florida game. And so Arkansas isn't going to drop drastically even if they lose some of these games. So, I just think they're in strong position. They've, won 11 of 12, and the one loss was a game at Bama where you have the ball at the very end to win it. So they're just playing good basketball right now.
A guy that played a good game yesterday was Davonte Davis. Didn't play a lot in the first half, played a lot more in the second. He knocks down 2 big threes. He's hit some clutch threes this season. Tommy kind of put him in the X Factor mold earlier, and I think he could be if he plays offensively and defensively like he's capable of. What kind of differences have you noticed from Devo at the beginning of the season to what he's been doing and impacting in SEC play?
Yeah, with all the endorsements, the NIL stuff he got, he probably, in his mind, was a starter. And he probably had to adjust to the fact that where his role was best needed was to come in and give a lift off the bench. And defense is just his calling card. That's, to me, his improved defense fits hand in glove with the team's improved defense. There was a time during stretches of this season where when he rose for a jump shot, I, in my mind, thought, it's not a good shot, or, Devo's taking another shot. Sometimes it didn't feel like he came in the flow. The last couple of games, he's made a pair of threes each, I believe. And so I agree with Tommy. He is such an X factor in that if you get offense out of him, because what you hope to get is deflected passes and runouts. If you get a few of those a game, you're in really good shape. But if you get a few of those and a couple of threes, then you're talking big bonus territory and a scorer off the bench and a scorer to take some of the load off Note and Williams and Amude. And so, yes, if he's really playing well for you, you're really on to something.
And the point we were on in the last hour was to get to the second weekend or that magical Final Four weekend, the last weekend of the tournament. Arkansas's offense is going to have to go to another level somewhere. The defense may be good enough right now, and they may be playing well enough at the free throw line and places like that, but you need another player that can give you double-digit scoring to have a chance maybe to get back to an Elite Eight or put yourself in that position. And when you just look up and down the box score and the rosters, it just seems like Devo, who's shown some flashes, can be that guy. I just think more than Chris likes, he's probably the likely candidate to add to where you got to be because, Tom, 58 points isn't going to win you very many NCAA tournament games.
No, it's not, and you can't count on the other team shooting as poorly 27% Tennessee did. And so absolutely you need to have, secondary, tertiary scores, big lift off your bench, a big defensive stopper, that all the things that Devo can provide. Mm-hmm. And Arkansas's jump shooting has been one of the part that, it's subpar. Their mid-range jump shooting game. Jalen Williams has been off and on that, and J.D. Note comes and goes. Amude's at times, he's had some games where he's been brilliant with turnarounds from 15 feet. Yeah. But overall, jump shooting isn't a big deal for them. So they've got to be a really good offensive rebounding team, and then if Devo can contribute some of that mid-range stuff, then they're in much better shape.
You've touched on some of it here, but Arkansas, a little over a month ago, lost 5 of 6 games. Now they've reeled off 11 of the last 12 with victories. Pinpoint an item or two. You went through some things there. What do you think's been the secret to the success over these last 12 ball games?
Well, two big overarching principles in my mind: A, team defense, and B, just finding out your roster and shortening it. And I know we talked about this some last week, but guys like Jackson Robinson could be a deadly 3-point shooter. He's not playing as much, and Connor, obviously, if he had been able to give him a better 3-point shooting consistency, I think he'd be getting more minutes. But, they've gone to basically an 8-man rotation, and anything more than that's just a few minutes. So it's what's working, and I think the players have embraced it to a large extent, and I think that's the first part, that and defense.
It's definitely working, considering right now they hold a 3-game lead over the next couple teams that are tied in 5th place. They're tied with Tennessee right now. We'll see if they end up getting a top 4 tournament seed. What was surprising to me, Tom, over this weekend is Florida beat Auburn. And Tyree Appleby, former Jacksonville guy, had a great game, hit a clutch 3 at the end of the ball game. And for Auburn, and just kind of out of the SEC, I thought the SEC was just going to be Auburn and then see what happened with Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas. But based on Auburn losing that game, do you think there's a realistic chance that either the Vols, the Razorbacks, or the Wildcats could maybe get that one slot in the SEC?
Well, I think Kentucky probably feels like they have a shot at it, and I'm not looking at everybody's finishing schedule, but if you look at Auburn, first of all, I think Auburn is a very adaptable team. They're a little bit streaky with the 3-point shooting, but when you think about Green and Johnson at guard, all the things, the intangible stuff that Smith can do for you, Kessler, 7-foot shot blocker, rim protector, all that, I think Auburn's still in good shape to be a tournament-worthy, team. However, recent road games, they just escaped Georgia and they just escaped Missouri. Arkansas got them. Florida, they gave up about an 8 or 9 point lead they gave up in the second half of that game, which for Florida, with their offensive issues they have, was a little bit surprising. So if anybody's going to do it, I think Kentucky might be in the best position. Arkansas's home game against Kentucky is going to be wild. But it looks to me like those 4 are in solid with the double bye.
That was probably the biggest college basketball upset over the weekend, but the biggest college basketball story over the weekend occurred in Madison, Wisconsin yesterday with Juwan Howard and Greg Gard getting into it. Tom, everyone seems to have an opinion on this. I wonder what yours is this morning on that altercation.
Yeah, I have a pretty strong opinion, and it is this, that I don't think he should coach again this season. I don't think I would fire him, but you've got to be a better leader than that, and it doesn't matter what precipitated it. If you are the guy who throws, the open-handed deal and contacts a man's face, you can't teach your kids that. I am upset. I don't like what this guy's saying to me, so I'm going to throw a hand at it. Not good. And by the way, he didn't like the timeout, but his team was pressing in the final minute. Mm-hmm. So if the game is over and you're mad the other guy called the timeout, then you don't press against his all reserves. And I think they had forced a turnover and, got a bucket out of it, and they were still pressing. And Guard's like, hey, we're about to run out of this clock. He's trying to teach the younger guys something, too. I don't like timeouts in the last minute either, but, if Juwan Howard didn't want that to happen, then he could have had his guys playing back.
Yeah, I'll be surprised, but considering this isn't his first incident, Tom, I'll be surprised if he coaches through the conference tournament. So regular season and maybe the Big Ten tournament, he'll sit and we'll see where it goes from there. Let's talk some baseball. You watched the Hogs over the weekend, and something that hadn't happened in 40 years. They lost the season opener, but bounced back to win 2 of 3. Let's go back to Friday. What went wrong for the Razorbacks to open the year?
Yeah, just didn't hit with men in scoring position. I mean, the clutch hitting, 2-out hitting, just wasn't there for them. And maybe, a little bit of anxiety, nerves, guys really wanting to do things. And it really didn't improve a whole lot. I mean, yesterday's game, they had some 2-out hits. They scored 3 runs with 2 outs. And so we feel like there's going to be a lot of improvement in that department. Illinois State just came in here with, and I wrote about this in the advance, that this is just the kind of team that can give you problems. They have veteran pitchers. They had a lefty, the kid Hart, who was so key to the Friday win. Dude had an 8-point-something ERA last year, but he's a better player. He's developed. And the thing that really impressed me was Illinois State had not been outside on grass all, preseason, and came down here and won that first game. But if Arkansas gets one hit, then they sweep the series, and then they're 3-0, so they'll probably drop in the rankings this week. But it's a good tester that, hey, any team on a given day can come out here and hold you down. And Dave Van Horn pointed this out in the postgame yesterday. They really didn't have a game-breaking type hit. Bases loaded, hits one to the gap. First and third, you hit a triple. 3-run homer. They didn't get that this weekend. So they had to learn how to scrap out or start learning how to scrap out a win. And they've got a good long ways to go. But I do think a big positive was that between, Nolan gave up some runs but settled down. Wiggins had base runners on quite a bit, but had his smoothest inning in the fifth. I think, and Hagen Smith, by the way, brilliant. I do believe that going into next weekend, that those three guys will be in the starting slots.
Scary moment on Friday when Illinois State starting pitcher Jordan Lucey took a line drive comebacker in the head from Brady Slavis. Describe what the feel was like being in the ballpark when that was a extremely scary moment in Game 1 of the year.
Yeah, a hush immediately descends over the entire crowd because the kid's, health is right there at risk. That ball hit him so hard, and it's very lucky it didn't hit him in the temple. I think it hit him on the kind of more the backside of his head, but it went from his head out into left field. The vectors and all that involved in it was phenomenal for it to do that. It almost went to the left fielder. It hit him that hard. The exit velo, I believe, was like 103. And the good thing was, he got up, he passed concussion protocol, and he was on the bench in good spirits. Surely, he had got a knot on his head from that, and I hope he's able to get back on the mound soon. That's something I'll probably keep track of to see if he's able to pitch on this coming Friday. And I talked to their coach, Steve Holm, after every game. He was a quote machine. And he said for them, he's been doing this all his coaching career, going and playing a powerhouse team, and they've never been in all three games, and they were in all three of these. And he said, usually you get your brain bashed in on one of them, but they were a solid team, and that Lucier guy is a big part of it. So I hope he's doing well.
Be interesting to see how they do the rest of the year. We might find out Illinois State might be a better team down the road than we expect. Tom, good stuff, and we'll talk to you on Thursday, getting ready for an Arkansas-Kentucky game.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a good one. See y'all then.
All right, Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports, with us on Mondays and Thursdays here on the Morning Rush.
It might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pros and college hoops. For all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's promo code BLEAV. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage, is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.